From the World Cultural Festival, let's turn to World's Women Day, where today we are bringing you a very unique offering. All this talk of women's empowerment. A social reality experiment has been carried out by You Digital, a new website that's coming up, Hoja Regender Project. The project involves 6 participants from various walks of life who've carried out a series of real-life tasks, all aimed at understanding the issues and experiences women undergo each day of the year. While the experiment had participants living in a house for a month, it also had them stepping out into neighborhood markets. Teams recorded it on candid camera how a woman feels in public places in this country. Tonight we show you snatches of one such scenario, both giving a sense of how India treats and reacts to its women on the streets. In this test, the participants go out in a Delhi market wearing what some would call short clothes, even as cameras recorded the looks, the gaze, and men ogling all around. Take a look at some of the responses that are frankly rather shocking and show the Indian man at his worst.
क्या देख रहा है? देखो देखो, लड़की नहीं देखी कभी? हाँ देखो, चल देखो, देखो ना, देखो देखो, सी क्या किया? फोटो लिया? फोटो दिखा, फोटो दिखा, फोटो फोटो क्यों लिया? फोटो क्यों लिया? साले मार्केट में लड़की चढ़ेगी तो फोटो लेगा?
ये फोटो है हमारा।
हाँ? ये मेरा फोटो है। फोटो क्यों लिया फोटो? हाँ?
चलो भैया, चलो डिलीट कर दो, डिलीट कर दो इसको। चलो खत्म करो बात। चली प्लीज।
चाचा क्या देख रहे हो?
कुछ नहीं बचा।
चलिए ना आगे।
इनकी फोटो जरूरी है खींचनी। कुछ नहीं, हम उन लड़कों की फोटो खींच रहे हैं जो एक्चुअली लड़कियां जब छोटे कपड़े पहनती हैं उनको देखते हैं ना, तो हम उनकी फोटो खींच रहे हैं। मतलब गलत बात है ना? हाँ, गलत बात करते हैं ना, तो वही हम उनकी फोटो खींच रहे हैं। ये देखिए, अद्भुत किस्म के लोग हैं जो मतलब लैच करना कभी छोड़ेंगे ही नहीं। क्या देख रहे थे आप? आप क्यों ऐसे घूर के देख रहे हैं?
नजारा देखो।
नजारा? क्या नजारा दिख रहा है आपको यहाँ पे? खुल के वो क्या नजारा दिख रहा है? चांदनी चौक? तो चांदनी चौक सिर्फ यही चांदनी चौक है? इधर ही चांदनी चौक है? पूरा है ना? तो पूरा देखिए ना। हम इसलिए देख रहे हैं कि आप किस तरीके से एक ही पोजीशन पे खड़े हैं तब से, और हमें ही देखे जा रहे हैं। आगे बढ़िए ना फिर आप। क्यों बात क्यों नहीं हुई है?
क्या दिख रहा है कुछ खाने को? नहीं है, पैसे नहीं है मेरे पास।
अरे दी, he just clicked a picture यार। हेलो अंकल इधर आइए। फोटो क्यों खींच रहे हैं? फोटो क्यों खींची आपने? क्यों खींची फोटो?
दिखाओ जरा फोटो।
खींची ना अभी फोटो। सारा खींची ना इसने। नहीं आप करिए, अभी डिलीट करिए।
नहीं, ये दिखा।
नहीं, हाउ कैन यू क्लिक अ पिक्चर?
नहीं,
हम खड़े हुए हैं वहाँ पे रास्ते में, तुम लोग फोटो खींचोगे क्या?
अभी देखा।
आप डिलीट करिए।
बोला ना अभी के
डिलीट करो।
फोटो
डिलीट करिए फोटो। अभी डिलीट
खींचा
करो।
क्यों? एक मिनट खींचा क्यों?
मैडम सारी गलती हो गई।
डिलीट करो। पहले दिखाओ।
सीधे फॉरवर्ड।
सर गलती हो गई।
क्यों?
नहीं है ना, इनकी तो माँ बहनें है ही नहीं।
इधर दिखाओ ना। फोटो दिखाओ। अरे फोटो दिखाओ ना। आपने दिखाई थी फोटो।
सबको डिलीट
दिखाओ, चेक कराओ।
एक सेकंड ये करेंगे। वो डिलीट कर उसके साथ क्या? फोटो खींचे, मैंने खुद देखा।
अभी खींचा है और हमने भी देखी है फोटो।
सर देखिए, ये तेरा मतलब क्या? एक सेकंड सर देखिए, कहाँ है?
अभी मैंने देखा, अपनी आंखों से खींची। झूठ बोल रहे हैं।
वो आपकी आ गई फोटो।
कैसे आ गई? कैसे आ गई?
को देख करके अरे एक पैर है ना अभी कबर में, समझा ना? हाँ तो बोल किया ना?
नहीं ढील मार दे सर, नहीं ठीक है।
नहीं, ऊपर से झूठ बोल रहे हैं। नहीं, अपोलोजाइज करना चाहिए कि नहीं? गलती होगी तो सॉरी बोलो, फिर झूठ क्यों बोल रहे हो? पता था ना गलती है, पता झूठ क्यों बोल रहे हो कि फोटो हमने नहीं खींची जब हमने खुद देखी है?
मैं तेरी औरत नहीं करे, हाँ?
This is all.
Hello,
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing. How are you?
You're also good.
I believe आपका एक बहुत एडवेंचरस ट्रिप हुआ. So, Farah, क्या हुआ?
इट वॉज बहुत गंदा था, बहुत गंदा था
क्यों?
यार रघु, आई फेल्ट आई वॉज रेप्ड. एक पॉइंट के बाद में मैंने बोला कि मैं नहीं कर सकती हूँ. आई एम अ वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट वुमन और मैं जैसे ड्रेसअप होती हूँ मैं वैसे ही ड्रेसअप होती हूँ. मैंने कोई एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट नहीं डाला. बट लोगों की नज़र इतनी नीच है, इतनी नीच है. मतलब आप कहीं खड़े हो जाओ ना तो भीड़ जमा हो जाती है. ये लोग इतने गंदे हैं. और कुछ बेशरम कैटेगरी के लोग कैमरा देख के स्माइल कर रहे थे व्हेन आई वाज क्लिकिंग.
हाँ,
आपका जो रिएक्शन था उससे प्रॉब्लम बढ़ सकती थी.
या आई डू फील दैट. अगर क्रू नहीं
क्रू
होता
नहीं होता
साथ
तो
में,
शायद हम ये हिम्मत नहीं करते.
ये जो हुआ है ये रीजेंडर के थ्रू ही किया है मैंने. अदरवाइज मैं लाइफ में कभी नहीं कर पाती.
Okay, so there you go. Brief snatches of a much longer experiment carried out by social website Array that's coming out later this month. It was carried out last month, a preview of the reality of the mindsets on our streets and in public, which raises the question, Women's Day in this country, is it just a ritual or will it actually change mindsets? Are days like Women's Day really necessary or should every day in the year be treated as Women's Day? That's the question I want to raise at this moment. Joining me now, Anuja Chauhan, author and ad person. Also joining me, Raghu Ram, participant in that reality experiment. Lashita Sahai, who's also participated in it. And Farah Kader. All three of you were participating in that experiment. Let me come to you first, Lashita and Farah. Lashita, you first. What was it like, that experiment where you dressed in a particular type of clothes to try and see mindsets on the street? Were you at all surprised by the kind of looks you got? It seemed to me exactly what one would have suspected.
No, I was not surprised, very honestly. I was expecting such a thing because we know this happens. This is very usual actually. So, and I'm born and brought up in Delhi only. So I was actually prepared that this was going to happen. So whatever happened, that was still, I mean, that was very,
Yeah, you know,
that was very,
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, I was actually expecting that, but I was also shocked because it never happened, because you know what kind of environment is there outside, so you do take care of everything. So you usually, we never prepare ourselves, or we don't prefer to dress up as we want. Basically, if I'm wanting to wear shorts and everything, I always hesitate, because I know this is something which is going to happen.
Can I bring in Farah on that? The fact that you are dressed in those, let's be clear, the freedom to choose the kind of way you dress or the way you look should be a freedom under the Constitution. But for a woman in any public place in this country, do you believe that that's not possible? Is that the sense you got while doing this? Were you, as some will accuse you, of being deliberately provocative to try and get the worst of the male side?
No,
I'm not getting the audio.
I don't think so.
Farah, you're not getting the audio?
I am now. Was that the question for me?
Yeah, the question was for you. Was that a deliberate attempt to provoke, in a sense, the male, the men in the marketplace?
It wasn't, Rajdeep. It wasn't a deliberate attempt to provoke any men. I was dressed exactly the way I dress normally as I dress here in Mumbai. It wasn't a deliberate attempt. We were walking in the streets of Delhi, and I was surprised at the reaction. People mobbed.
Are you
It
saying the
was
reaction
a
would be different in?
horrendous
Are you saying the
sexual
reaction
torture.
would be different in Mumbai? Are you saying, Farah, that reaction would be different in Mumbai?
Rajdeep, I've never seen people clicking our pictures behind our backs or standing in a mob and clicking our pictures. I've never noticed that over here. It was for the first time in Delhi. It was a terrible day out. I've not seen that here.
Okay,
No.
it was a terrible day out. Raghuram, am I to understand that there's a difference between Delhi and Mumbai? Is that the sense you get? That there is, I mean, while this experiment was going down, is this about exposing the North Indian mindset? Or is this just exposing the Indian mindset, male mindset?
Rajdeep, this is definitely, there's nothing just North Indian about this. This is, this I find everywhere in India. The degrees may vary. You might go into places where you feel relatively a little safer, but this problem happens every day all over the country. I mean, there is not one day that some incident like this is not in the news. And may I address one small thing though? Rajdeep?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you say that, yeah, so there are people, I understand that there are people who will look at the way they were dressed and they'll say that, okay, they were deliberately provoking a reaction. The point is, they were not dancing anywhere, they were not enticing people, they were walking. Okay? And in India, especially when it comes to females and now in a lot of other things, provocation is treated as justification. No, this is not a provocation. It may be inappropriate, you may find it inappropriate. Does that give you the right to violate somebody's privacy, personal space, click pictures? What are you doing with those pictures? A lady just said she felt raped. The other girl is saying it's the terrible day out. I mean, that is a violation of human decency and rights. This is a human rights issue. This is a big issue. And please, because it's a social experiment, yes, they were sent out in the way that they would be comfortable dressing elsewhere, but does not equate to provoking. The reactions were their own.
Can
and
I
it happens all the time.
Can I bring in Anuja on that? Anuja, you know, it appears therefore that for all this talk of Women's Day, and yes, there is women's empowerment, far more women are in public spaces today than they were 20, 25 years ago. The male gaze remains what it is. Is that, do you believe that's part of the way we are, you know, it's in a sense part of our culture?
Yeah, I mean, that video wasn't, I couldn't actually see the video, so I'm not very sure exactly what the girls were wearing, but I could hear the audio. It wasn't at all surprising. The really frightening thing is that, you know, this experiment is just about what they were wearing and the reaction to that, but symptomatic of a huge thing. There is a massive iceberg below this. This is just the tip that you're seeing here, that, you know, girls are being looked at, are being made to feel violated just because they're dressed a certain way. Provocation, like if a woman speaks loudly, you can hit her. That is the justification in many marriages where domestic violence happens. She spoke to me badly, the food wasn't cooked well, so I slapped her, so I beat her up. You know, it's in every single little thing. It's not just about you dress a certain way so you get treated a certain way. It's really sickening, and it cuts right.
But how would you respond, Anuja, to those who will say... How would you respond to those who will say that there's an Indian cultural, there are cultural mores, cultural values which require you to dress in a particular way, you know, wear a salwar kameez, no, don't wear short skirts. This is what we hear, you know, from time to time. And in fact, the worst way, I've heard people say she was asking for it.
Yeah, but the thing is that that's bullshit. Of course, we all know that as educated people, right? But the thing is that this is something we are guilty as parents of telling our children down generations and generations. I've done this. I've told my children that, you know, I've told my daughters, if you're going to Chandni Chowk, please don't wear a sleeveless salwar kameez. I've said this to my daughters. And look at me, I'm sitting on your show and talking. So it is something that we have conditioned our girls on, and is wrong on our part, and we need to very seriously re-educate everybody up until something like this doesn't happen. And cultural values are only for women, or what? Women must dress a certain way, that's their culture. Men must be respectful of women, that is not Indian culture. Are we saying Indian culture is that women are supposed to be treated like pieces of butter chicken walking down the road?
Pieces of butter chicken walking down the road. Lashita Sai, is that how you felt? Like a piece of butter chicken walking down the road? And do you believe that therefore all these Women's Day celebrations that we hold at one level are not going to change the way the man looks at you at Chandni Chowk if you walk there next time?
Oh, I was, you know, when we were having this walk, I actually felt like that, you know, as if we are something to eat, and you can't do that normally, because we knew in our mind that there are people around us, the crew is there, so we are safe. So we were able to react the way we did. Otherwise, you cannot expect us. I mean, girls actually can't do that, to react, because that would be unsafe. Because when you revolt something like that, people are there.
Is it about social
there to...
No, so where does it leave? And that's the question I asked. Where does this leave Women's Day, Farah Qadar? There have been a lot of celebrations through the day. Powerful speeches are given in Parliament, and one appreciates the fact that there is this, there is this one day at least where the focus is, in a sense, on women's issues. But is it going to change anything come tomorrow morning?
I don't think so, Rajdeep. There are so many laws, to protect rights of the women, but why are these laws not put into practice, or we are not able to enforce these laws? They've been there all the while. Nothing is happening to protect us. I think the need of the hour is to change the mindset of the men and educate men, basically. I completely agree to what Anuja said, Rajdeep, that are the cultural values only for women? No, they are for men equally. See, the men is an equally beautiful creature created by the nature, right? We see men. I work out in the Finnest club in the city. I see men walking out in vest, in shorts, but I don't go out attacking or raping them or clicking their pictures. You're getting my point?
No, I'm getting your point.
I admire the beauty.
We are the problem.
I admire the beauty.
Raghuram, we are the problem. The problem are the men of this country. It's nothing to do with the women. The women are great. Indian women are great. The problem is the men.
True. It would seem so, and it definitely is so. I don't think we should have International Women's Day as a solution for something. We should have Indian men's re-education year, and a lot of our politicians need to support that. They need to stop saying irresponsible things, victimizing shaming the victim, and blame needs to be assigned where it is due, with the men who treat women as property, as sexual objects, as less than human.
But, at the end, Anuja, as you honestly said that you would think twice before asking your daughter to go to Chandni Chowk with a sleeveless salwar kameez. If you are going to say that to your daughter, where does that leave majority of Indian women? Do you believe, in a sense, that the problem therefore is that we are unwilling, therefore where's the solution? If even modern women will think in socially conservative terms when it comes to something like dress.
I think the clothes will finally, men's attitudes to women clothes will probably be the last thing to change. I think that will be the last thing. I think that will be finally the last thing that they'll hold on to, the right to lech and the right to perv. That is going to stay the longest. And before that, they need to...
I take your point. I take your point. Unless the right to dress, in a sense, is part of our... It should be a fundamental right, the right to dress for the woman of India. She should be allowed to dress the way she wants without having to constantly...
that's the thing. It gets dumbed down. But it gets dumbed down and just becomes about clothes. I worry about things like slut walk and other such things coming to India, because that dumbs it down to just that. It's just not about the right to dress a certain way. It's much deeper. It's about everything. It's about respect, about equality, about the right to nutrition and the right to be born to begin with. It's all those things. And very often with our politicians and in public, forums, it tends to become about, like, we are fighting for some very stupid, shallow little right to dress in tank tops. This is not about dressing in tank tops. It goes way deeper. It's about everything.
Okay.
And again, this conversation gets sabotaged because it just becomes about clothes.
Okay. Point well taken. It's about the way we stereotype our women. It's about prejudice above all else. It's about social conditioning and the way the Indian man, in a sense, or the Indian male has been conditioned over the years. I appreciate you all joining us. It's a unique experiment done by Array, which is going to come out on your website soon, in a little while. Hojari gender is what it's called. We've tried to be a little different this Women's Day. Do we really then need a Women's Day, or do we need, as Raghu says, a male education year really to change this country? Thank you all very much for joining me on the news today.
4 terrorists struck at the Indian consulate in Jalalabad. We are getting you the first images of that horrific terror strike that were caught on camera. A CCTV camera outside the